Today on the Topping Show, a Republican congressman from Tennessee introduces a bill that would allow Trump a third term. The ATF scrambles to change job titles as DEI gets banned in government employee roles. CNN is losing more employees as they lay them off left and right. Bank of America gets community noted when they brag about inclusivity, but in fact they ban conservatives. A trans teacher threatens ICE agents, and a popular moisturizer is recalled with the second highest risk classification. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more, or click the URL in the video description below. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part podcast, you have CNN laying off employees left and right as they continue to try to shift to digital. All 18 customers will be very, very happy that they're going to go more digital, I'm sure. Now, this comes to us thanks to the Associated Press, and they say, quote, CNN is announcing layoffs as part of a shift to digital business. There you can see their used to be respected logo of the CNN, which, well, it's probably been a couple of decades since it's been respected. Now, this is thanks to David Bauder, who's a writer over there. Now, they say that, quote, CNN is announcing a restructuring that will include some 200 layoffs, an accelerated pivot to digital accelerations and operations, and new TV roles for personalities like Wolf Blitzer, Jake Tapper, and Audie Cornish. Oh no. What will we do without the eloquence and reporting of Wolf Blitzer or Jake Tapper? Kidding, about 5 people will miss them. Now they say, quote, it's the boldest revamp yet in the 18-month tenure of the new CEO, Mark Thompson, a former chief executive at the New York Times and BBC, calling upon the parent company Warner Bros. Discovery to revive the news outlet's flagging fortunes. Which, yeah, when he first came to the new role, they got rid of, Brian Stelter, which is one of the more rudimentary and less respected, host over there throughout the years. And he said that they're going to try to make it more, neutral, which obviously they failed epically. Now, they continue saying, quote, the layoffs are concentrated to CNN's TV business, where ratings have tumbled as consumers cut the cable and seek other news sources, which I don't know anyone who actually pays for cable. I mean, I've been renting house or apartments since college and renting a house now. I've never paid for cable. I've never had the desire. And I even have a tube TV. Part of me likes retro tech. But, do you know anyone in your circle of friends who has cable? I know they try to push it with like the bundles to the TV, the internet, and the cable, yada, yada. But even then, I just personally don't see any value props to it. Do you? Like these days? Now, they continue to say, quote, they'll eventually be offset by new hires in digital, where Warner Bros. Discovery is making a $70 million investment. Now, CEO Thompson said, quote, this is not a cost-saving exercise. Unquote. I laugh because obviously it is. You're getting rid of some of the, well, not top quality, but top paid people at the company in terms of talent. You're going to hire someone else at a fraction of the cost. You're going to do about the same quality work. So a part of it is about fiscal cost, I believe, and saving some pennies, or in their case, probably millions of dollars. Now, he says, quote, we're actually leaning into increased investments. Layoffs have either taken place or are anticipated across the news industry. CNN's ratings have long taken a hit since the election of President Donald Trump, longtime critic of the network. CNN averaged 1.7 million viewers for Trump's inauguration, compared to 8 million for Joe Biden's inauguration 4 years ago, which, again, is also a different audience. More often you do have conservatives leaning into multiple media to try to absorb data and form I would say a good opposing viewpoint, a well-rounded opinion. But you very rarely see people on the left going to things like Fox News, and well, I think they're mostly become left these days. But you know the effect of which I mean in terms of seeking out different perspectives. You usually don't see that the opposite. Now, they also that CNN also took a financial hit. How big is unclear. When the Florida jury last week found the news network liable for defaming U.S. Navy veteran on a story involving a paid effort to extract endangering Afghans following the country's Taliban takeover. The network settled the case before the jury could fully decide the damages. Now, they also know that under Thompson, CNN has quietly resigned in offering new features on CNN website last year. It introduced today $3.99 monthly or $29.99 yearly subscription for its heaviest users, which many of them perhaps are heavy in terms of physical composition, but yeah, heavy users, I guess they probably mean, people going to the website multiple times, which, yeah, I don't think so. Like, I try to get data left, right, center, so I go to CNN.com every once in a while. Usually CNN business, which, again, I'm still astounded, still somehow in business. Again, but actually, now that we read this, maybe the people making those articles aren't. But in all seriousness, I don't know anyone who actually goes to CNN. Now, in terms of going digital, one of the biggest business blunders I've heard of in years was CNN when they launched their phone app. I think they called it CNN Plus, like every app does with the plus for news subscriptions. And the average acquisition cost for a paying member of that app was about $45,000. Now, that's because they're spending a copious amounts of marketing, and they had the free version for a while, so you sign up, then give them a credit card, and they hope you forget about it, and then you start paying for it after that free couple months. And most of the people just overwhelmingly quit. But because they spent so much on marketing and only a couple people actually was willing to pay for the app, the acquisition cost per unit ended up about $45,000, which, again, is one of the worst cost per acquisition of a user I've heard of in my life. Like, even in my tech company, we're spending a couple $1,000s on IT events. I mean, when you break it down per person or per business, it's still maybe a couple hundred or not nowhere near four figures, yet alone 5 figures. So it's almost unfathomable how much CNN has failed, and they're trying to go more to digital, but their audience is shrinking. They don't have the core demo. Pretty much every other major news network is beating their ratings, and to me, there's not really an overwhelming benefit to pay for any CNN content. I mean, you can go to their website for free, check it out for free for a couple times before I guess they want you to pay for it. But I mean, they really don't have that exclusive talent or breaking news stories. You see a lot of breaking stories from like Louder Crowder or the Daily Wire. They're breaking stories left and right. A lot of controversial stories, actually, especially James O'Keefe. Great independent reporter, though I say that he does have his own business, so they got more than just him working there. But yeah, what major breaking stories has CNN really brought to the forefront? For life, man, I really can't think. And I really can't think of any reason to pay for their content. So it is sad because I'm sure there's some good employees there. They're not all radical leftists. Most of them probably are. But again, there's probably some good employees there. Unfortunately, are going to be out of a job. And we'll see how they pivot. But let me know in the comments. I don't see how they actually can be a long-term profitable, viable company shifting to digital. Unless, again, they need to massive... just get rid of the leftism in the company, but by doing so, you'd also alienate their big core audience and the people who might be willing to pay for their content. So, pretty sticky situation. We'll see what comes out on top. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Cultural Problem podcast, you have Bank of America getting community noted when they say how we're very much welcome to everyone to use our banking services. When in fact, no, they ban people left and right. Well, more often than not, on the right. Now, this comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, in which she says, quote, another community note win, and is a tweet from Bank of America saying, quote, Bank of America serves more than 70 million clients, and we welcome conservatives. We would never close the account for political reasons and don't have a political litmus test. It's funny because it's bullshit. Now, the readers added content saying, quote, this is why X Twitter is the best. Bank of America has been placed on notice by 15 state associate generals for debanking conservatives. Your discriminatory behavior is a serious threat to free speech, religious freedom, and potentially illegal, causing political and regulatory backlash. This from Kansas AG Chris Kobach. Which, yeah, the banking industry, don't get me started. They're the most anti-conservatives out there. One of the biggest ones is Chase. Now, anecdotally speaking, again, I own a tech company, work with a couple of mom and pop shops and some mid-market and even Fortune 500. Now, interestingly enough, when I hear about, PPL banking, sorry, if you click that subscribe button, it may very help with my speaking enunciation. When I first started the show, basically no subscribers, but as I slowly but surely gain subscribers, I've begun to speak more and more articulately. Granted, some might argue just a modicum of improvement, just a barely statistical increase, but I would argue decrease nevertheless. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it and might make it through an entire episode speaking slowly, articulately, and perhaps even brilliantly. So if you can click that button again, I would greatly appreciate it. And again, all feedback is appreciated as I want to make the show better and better. Now, getting back to what I was trying to say was, interestingly enough, when you're talking to a lot of small businesses, especially when they start to grow, one of the biggest categories in which banks push them out is firearm industries. Now, we worked with some firearm manufacturers as well as resellers, companies that resell not just guns, but also ammunition. And usually it's hard to get a bank account, Chase. And in the rare instances where they do get a bank account there, once they hit a certain business threshold of revenue, and again, it's pretty arbitrary. I've heard a couple rumors of, a couple 100,000, a lot of people are saying it's around 2 to 3 million in revenue. Once you hit that goal, then the bank pushes you out. They basically say you have until this date until we close your account. So you have until this date to get your funds transferred to somewhere else. And more often than not, they go to a better regional bank that's more personable. And truth be told, I think you get better customer service going with the local bank, though not financial advice. But yeah, banks are notorious for banning people left and right. And that's not even, that on top of, they'll ban you if you like guns, but they'll work with Epstein. Never forget when Epstein was first, broke in terms of the news first broke about him having inappropriate relations with, trying to keep this moderately family friendly, the youth. Well, he was actually sentenced successfully. They had enough evidence that they charged him, and he got a slap on the wrist in terms of he basically could hang out all day and then go to the jail at night, or maybe his prison. I forget the vernacular, but he was convicted, and yet Chase they continued to do business with him. So if you like guns, or you have an ammo company, they're gonna debank you. But Epstein, Chase is A-okay using you. Fascinating to see the priorities of major banks. Now, this didn't go as viral as I thought. Now, they got about 570,000 views as well as 29,000 likes. One of the first ones is, for comments rather, is, well, I'm a little biased. I think this commenter is especially handsome and brilliant. It's me, hashtag the Topping Show on X, and I say, quote, game banking should be illegal. Chase is even worse when they force out gun shops, unquote, getting 4 likes. Alzupa says, quote, that goes in the Hall of Fame, getting 67 likes. Base Electrician says, quote, Bank of America denies services to the most patriot Americans, getting 74 likes. Alexander Shepard says, remember this. This is Tucker Carlson from some years ago.
Last week, we told you that one of the largest and oldest banks in the country, Bank of America, founded by A.P. Giannini, is no longer really a bank. It's now a kind of intelligence agency spying on its customers without telling them, turning information over to the feds. We obtained proof that Bank of America scanned through its customers' private financial records back in January and turned the information over to federal investigators, once again, without telling its customers.
That sounds about right. Getting 190 likes. A couple of people have some AI-generated logos of the Bank of America with a sign that says, conservatives not welcome, getting 35 likes. See here. You have T-Max saying, quote, remember when they turned in January 6 people who spent money in the area, turn over accounts to the feds of people who bought Bibles? I do. They set the standard for why we should not have digital currency. Like Canada, they can shut off your funds at any time if they don't like what you buy. Bank of America breaks their contract to you by handing over private purchases they deem red flags, like Bibles, getting 447 views and 25 likes. Which, yeah, and it was also a couple of major credit card companies saying how they were going to give over data about, if you're buying ammo online. Yeah, Jefferson's Violin saying, quote, I've heard dozens of conservatives getting debanked. Mark Anderson says he's seen like 30 people in the tech sector that lost their banking, getting 36 likes. Let's see here. ME says, it amazes me that companies and politicians still think they can spew easily disproved nonsense on X. Keep calling them out and hold them accountable. Vote out the lying politicians. Boycott the woke companies. Ridicule the clown public figures. Getting 36 likes. Global Index says, let's end the income tax as promised. You have a picture of Rand Paul saying abolish income tax, free the people, getting 16 likes, which that'd be nice. I'm not sure how that'd affect our economy in terms of shifting from an income tax to tariffs. Again, it would be really nice to actually keep the money we make. Lord knows the government steals most of it when you're taking into account federal income tax, state income tax, sales tax, property tax, estate tax, capital gains tax, alcohol tax, tobacco tax. Let's just get started. Gasoline tax. Yeah, if we were actually sit down and calculate how much of every dollar we earn we get to keep, it'd be pretty depressing and un-American for them to do that to us. So we'll see if this, again, Bank of America is so, They are so large and successful already. I doubt this will have even impact 1% of their growth or sales. Again, there's certain things where in business you call it sticky. Like once you start a service, you're very unlikely to stop it or move away from it. Usually, cell phone plans, credit cards, and banks are some of the more sticky things where people usually just stick with what they have. That's why I'm pretty skeptical. I don't really think there'll be a big. And again, they're calling for a protest, but I don't think there will really be a big initiative to try to go to a different bank. But let me know if you think differently. Do you think there'll be a major boycott and people actually move away from Bank of America? Let me know thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have a trans teachers threatening ICE agents as Trump has initiatives to actually get rid of the people who broke into our country. Now, this comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, in which she says, quote, transgender teacher threatens to harm ICE agents if they come to his school. And I don't know why people think nose rings are attractive. So this is a very large man with long hair and a sweater. So F- for fashion as well. And reason number 9,738,435,703 reason not to let your kids go to a public school, because this very well might be your teacher, which is concerning to say the least. Well, let's hear what he has to say.
ICE can now raid classrooms, and as a high school teacher, I just want to make one thing clear. If someone tries to come in my classroom and take one of my students, one of us isn't leaving the classroom. Play with me.
Pretty empty threat because it's an obese, weak man. I don't know. I'm pretty sure if you just had to have it try to run more than 5 steps, he would collapse, sweating, and maybe even having it inducing a heart attack. But yeah, of course, this teacher does have the trans flag logo on a lanyard, some pins, which is, I don't want to say the sure sign of insanity, but yeah, the pins and the swag, unless you're unless you're a server at Bennigan's or whatever funny restaurant, was it TGI Fridays? That's the only profession where it actually makes sense, where you have like a lanyard with like 58 pins on it. Otherwise, I start to raise my eyebrows and wonder, what the hell kind of job do you really have? What are you doing with your life? And yes, it does come with someone who, admittedly, I did work at Cinemark growing up, and we got a couple pins put on our lanyards, but they're for movie promos. I partially digress. And of course, because I don't think this person will ever, face any backlash from this. Again, it's probably a specific threat. It certainly doesn't sound nice, but because I doubt there'll be any ramifications. And again, it's a public school. They'll probably give this person a raise because probably the whole school believes in this person's insanity. And it got about 900,000 views and 15,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from Valentina Gomez, in which she says, quote, cover your ears if you have children listening. A little disclaimer there. It says, quote, how do these pedos allow anywhere near children gain 1.6 thousand likes? Well, leftists call them MAPs, or this is another viscerally disgusting term, minor attracted persons, which is, again, what they're trying to make tolerant. No. There are some things that as a society we should have zero tolerance for. There's 0% chance they should be allowed to participate in any activity that involves being near a child. But you have people saying it's a good thing. Disgusting. Now you also have Gunther Eagleman says, quote, this is mental illness, getting 666 likes. Cash Loren says, trans is mentally ill and dangerous, getting 305 likes. Wizard Ronan says, only thing he can injure is a scale, getting 0 likes. Give him 1 like. I can only get, I gotta get at least 1 like to the guy. Scrolling down more and more. Nob Nom, interesting name, says, quote, infected by the woke mind virus, keep your children away from this danger. And it's a parody of is it The Dark Side of the Moon? What Pink Floyd album is this? It's the one where you have the line going to the pyramid and then coming out of a rainbow. It says the dark side of the groom. And the line is normal children, the pyramid is woke teachers, and then trans children emerge. Getting 214 likes. Yet another reason, I believe this is reason 10,958,735,003 to not allow your children to go to public schools in California as well. Because again, Gavin Newsom passed a law that said teachers are allowed to hide information from parents in regards to basically the children grooming, aka encouraging their pronouns, and even the teachers and the nurses giving them certain things. So yeah, needless to say, for the love of God, especially if you're in California, don't let your kids go to those public schools. I know it might mean it may very well mean you have to work twice as hard to offset the income loss to either pay for a private school or to have a single parent stay at home, which, thanks to the ineptitudes or corruption of the leftists, of Democrats and Republicans to devalue the US dollar, is extremely difficult for a single household to only have one income earner. I know that, but yeah, Lord knows these teachers, not all of them. Again, there's some exceptionally great teachers out there. Don't get me wrong, but between the greedy teachers unions that don't really want to teach and the teachers that are brainwashing kids, I mean, geez Louise, what is the upside of sending your kid to public school these days? It seems like diminishing returns. Anthony Galali says, quote, ICE just needs to throw a oh geez. They say ICE just needs to throw a meatball the opposite direction and he'd be long gone for them to take the whole class, getting 377 likes, which that might get it moving quick. Sanford says AOC, and it's AOC standing in front of an ICE chest. It says, quote, AOC discovers ICE has detention centers outside every 7-Eleven, getting 938 likes, which, yeah, she'd probably be pretty surprised about that, to see a ICE chest there. SF Ryan says, quote, sounds like a threat to law enforcement. He should be removed from children just for this, getting 383 likes. Let's see here. Crazy Vibe says, you heard me right. It's a man. And I believe this is the same teacher.
Okay, so I got a crazy story from my first year as a transgender teacher. Okay, so
that got 45 likes. I don't know why men and women, again, I know who the hell is telling women this and men this attractive nose rings is beyond me. I don't know why that's trending. Cynthia Holt says, quote, the only thing she'll be harming is a 20-piece chicken McNugget, getting 571 likes. Yep. So, yeah, we'll see if anything happens in terms of negative ramifications. In a sane world, this teacher would at least be put on administrative leave, unpaid, as they investigate it. But yeah, these days, who knows? Probably gets a raise. But yeah, let me know these days, would you ever allow your kid to go to a public school? And would you really trust the teachers? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have a Republican introducing a bill that would allow a third term for President Donald Trump, which, yeah, is so mentally vacuous, such a dumb idea. And yet, they introduced the bill. Now, granted, this is just one, but it is being officially introduced. There's not even a snowball's chance in hell of it getting passed. This comes to us thanks to Adultery, who says, quote, breaking, a constitutional amendment has been filed allowing President Trump to seek a third term in office. And he quotes, no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than 3 times, nor be elected to any additional term or after being elected to 2 consecutive terms. No person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. Now, this is filed by Congressman Andy Ogles, who's a Republican from Tennessee. This event pre-eval got 4.9 million views and 22,000 likes, which, again, we should never have someone in charge that long. You could argue that Obama had 3 terms because Biden was in office, and Lord knows Biden wasn't calling any shots. Perhaps more than just saying, come on, man, give me ice cream. I got cash. There's 10% for the big guy. Come on, man. I like vanilla. Corn Pop was a bad man. Or something like that. But, yeah, there should never be someone in office for that long. And, again, Trump would also be, in my opinion, way too old, and he wants to rest someday. So I don't think Trump would want that, in addition to, again, being unconstitutional. I don't think it'd be worth amending it or changing that. Now, again, when pre-eval got 4.9 million views and 23,000 likes, one of the first comments comes from Libercat Media TM saying, quote, amazing, let's hope it passed. It will take a lot to make this happen, but it's not impossible, getting 152 likes, which it kind of is impossible. Again, the Republicans have a narrow margin in the House. Again, it's not like there's a big red wave. There should have been for sanity, but again, they don't have the majority. And even the Republican Party, not everyone wants this precedent being set. Because again, again, Democrats don't know this, but Republicans are supposed to be smarter. If you let's say you let this pass, then the Democrats are going to have the opportunity to be in charge for 3 terms as well. Like, the shoe will eventually be on the other foot. Now, you also have Miriam saying, quote, before discussing the term limits for the president, we should first consider implementing term limits for leaders in Congress, getting 948 likes, which, yep. Now, we have had a couple bills, some bipartisan, in terms of introducing some limits, as well as, making it illegal for them to do stock trading, which, yeah, never forget the most successful stock trader, better than Warren Buffett, is Nancy Pelosi, which, yeah, bullshit. She's not that smart. It's literally just insider trading. And yet they're still legally allowed to do it, which, again, hopefully they repeal that. I believe we actually had to introduce a bill by Matt Gaetz and AOC. I mean, talk about 2 opposites coming together. They did introduce a bill a little while back to actually ban the insider trading. Unfortunately, didn't really seem to go anywhere. You also have Stop Socialist Tyranny saying, quote, "This is huge news, game changer for America's future. Trump is doing a great job. Why not let him run again? Let the people decide. Not outdated term limits." Getting 766 likes, which, again, I'm not saying Trump wouldn't do a good job. In the first 24 hours of his presidency, I think he's done more good than most presidents have in all 4 years, especially for securing the border and helping small businesses. Again, putting a pause in additional regulation is a huge sigh of relief to most small businesses who are kneecapped left and right with regulation, which, again, the cost is always sent to the consumer because they can only absorb so much. Again, I'm not saying Trump wouldn't do great things in a third term, but I don't think you want that president sent. I don't think it'd be good long term. They also have World Wall of Fun say, quote, "Personally, I think Vance should now take the shot after Trump. 2 terms is more than enough. Trump will take 12 to 24 months just to fix the Democrat Party mess. Vance can go and improve from there," getting 951 likes. Crazy Vibe says a third term for Trump would shake everything up. This constitutional amendment could be a game changer. It says legacy. It's a picture of Trump younger than Barron, getting 1.3 thousand likes. CEO Branding says, quote, "This would lead to the matchup of the century, Trump versus Obama," getting 934 likes. I don't know. They're both so old. I don't know if they both. Yeah, let me pull this up because I forgot. How old are they right now? Let's see, old is Trump. Right now, Trump and Obama are. Donald Trump is 78, and Obama is 63. So Trump would be 84, Obama would be 68. I don't think they want to be running. I mean, there's not much talent left in the Democrat Party. The bar is pretty darn low. Lord knows they're not going to let Kamala Harris run again. I mean, he's pretty much Obama's their old legacy. They'd probably have him run again, so he have his third official term, though it would realistically be his 4th term. But yeah, that'd be a pretty good matchup. Trump versus Obama. I don't think it would happen. Let's see. World Hall of Fun says, quote, pop up there. "Amendments to the Constitution need to be passed by 2/3 of both the House of Congress and ratified by the legislature of 3/4 of the states," getting 122 likes, which, yeah, again, it's not going to happen. Literally, the votes just don't exist. I'm not sure this guy, Republican from Tennessee, is just virtue signaling or because again, there's not even close to the votes to get this to happen. They also have Myers Alva saying, quote, "I honestly don't think Trump would want to do it again. I think we should let it pass JD as long as JD learns well and doesn't change from MAGA," unquote, getting 271 likes. E says, "Let's F and go." It's just a compilation of all the Trump signs every 4 years, which got 358 likes. And again, I think, for our country, I think especially for manufacturing, you do need some stability long term in terms of leadership because, again, one of the biggest reasons people don't make stuff here is because of all, not just the uncertainty, but also the rules, regulations, the increase of labor. And to bring factories back to the U.S., you need some stable laws for many years. I mean, it would be helpful from a business perspective in that regard to have that stability of, double term in theory. But even then, it's just a theory. There's no guarantee of like an 8-year term. So I'm not sure how much of an impact it would actually have positive-wise in terms of businesses in that regard. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have the ATF trying to hide their DEI as they change the job titles on their website. Now, this comes with things to end wokeness. Now, that being said, hopefully they just disband the ATF because they're unconstitutional trash, but that's just me. Now, end wokeness says, quote, "The ATF was just caught rebranding their chief diversity officer to chief officer to circumvent President Trump's order. Time to clean house, all of it," unquote. Which, yep. And here she is. Not to be cliche, but it's not a white guy. So it's a large African-American woman named Lisa Boykin, Boykin? that's such a lame name. It's almost as lame as a name like Topping. Oh, wait, I partially digress. Now, prior to her job title was Chief Diversity Officer. Yes, it's very important in the job of disarming Americans. And now, that was her prior role. Now, same picture. Now her title is Senior Executive, which I cannot wait for Vivek to go in the room with all these folks and just pull up the chair with Elon Musk and go, "What would you say you do around here?" How do you make this organization more efficient? How do you decrease costs? How do you increase efficiency? How do you increase the quality of service to the consumer, the American public? What do you say you do around here? I can't help but think you'd have a lot of long, awkward, pregnant pauses, as a lot of public officials and public employees would not be able to say anything. And these are more viral than anything End Wokeness has said this year. I think getting 4.8 million views and 81,000 likes. Now, one of the first comments comes from Elon Musk saying, quote, should the ATF even exist? Why not just merge it with the DEA? Gain 16,000 likes. Or, this is America. Why don't we just get rid of the ATF? We're supposed to have the Second Amendment for a reason. And yet we still, again, Republicans let me down left and right. They have narrowly, but they do have the House, the Senate, and the White House repeal the NFA Act 1934. Get off your keisters and do it. Again, it's the reason why if your state allows it, you can still buy a short-barreled rifle, short-barreled shotgun, machine gun, destructive device. However, you have to pay a $200 tax stamp to the U.S. Treasury Department. Thank God inflation helped us out that one time, because that's about $4,000 now compared to the $200 it was passed in 1934. You also had to do additional paperwork and wait. Usually the paperwork process for an individual takes between a couple of weeks, but for a trust it takes between 6 to 8 months. And of course, you have to pay sales tax on top of that, even more egregious. Yeah, repeal that. And also you can buy new machine guns, because thanks to Reagan signing that law, if you want a machine gun, it has to be manufactured and registered with the U.S. government before 1986, which is why they're so absorbently expensive and not affordable for a vast majority of Americans. And the AR-15 full auto that is called transferable, again, you can buy with the proper paperwork in most of the states, because they had to be registered and manufactured before 1986, cost around $30,000. As opposed to a nice AR-15, it's about $1,000. Let's say you add a couple $100 for the full autos here. It should not cost $30,000, but because of supply and demand of the law, that's how it is. So yeah, come on, Trump, get rid of the NFA Act in 1934. That is what gun owners have been salivating for and calling for decades. Republicans always say they're pro-gun. Show us. We've had some good things passed. Constitutional carry is great. That's mostly on a state level. And there's been some good things. But again, keep pushing, because it seems like we lose a lot of gun rights throughout our lifetime, unfortunately. Now, you also got Gunther Eagleman say, quote, time to fire her, getting 1.5 thousand likes, which I'd love to hear, what she, this is. Base Electrician also says, my suggestion to the ATF, before and after, and the before is the org chart with the diversity gal and all the other employees, and the after is just a blank page, which, yeah, I'll give him a like for that, definitely. Absolutely. Cool Christian Engineer, A+ for marketing, you know what he's up to. He says, quote, the ATF rebranding to avoid Trump's order is a blatant attempt to dodge accountability, unquote, gained 432 likes, which, again, I'm not too surprised. Most public employees, accountability is like oil, almost like splashing water upon the wicked witch of the West. They want to avoid it at all cost. Paul Zupa says, defund the ATF, gained 567 likes, which begs the question, how much do we waste on that right now? My ADHD knows no bounds. Though, if you like these types of tangents, let me know in the comments. I'm going to ask the Grok or Grok, as they say on the Twitter or X, how much do we spend on the ATF? Which, how much do you pay for tyranny? What? We wasted $1.6 billion in 2023 taking rights away from Americans. $1.6 billion. Now, it looks like Biden proposed a budget for 2024 of $1.9 billion. Well, that's the last cost we have on record, is $1.6 billion. Working to disarm law-abiding Americans and kill some of them in the cases of Waco and Ruby Ridge. Disgusting. Wall Street Apes also says, the ATF is the biggest bunch of losers in America. Imagine working to regulate firearms in the country with the Second Amendment. A bunch of clowns abolished ATF, gained 4.7 thousand likes, which, they should not exist. So we'll see if anyone at the ATF is held accountable. Lord knows it'd be the first time for them. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of these type of government employees rebranding, trying to acquiesce and hide from the truth. And yeah, we'll see how many of them are actually fired. If anything, you should actually fire, I'm not sure, the web developer who's ever in charge of updating the website, who's partially trying to, hide these type of data. I think they should all be fired, but they should be at the very least. Let me know, do you think we'll see other government departments do the same thing, try to hire their DEI hires? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have a moisturizer being recalled with the second highest risk. Who would have thought buying something on TikTok could have a downside? Ha, pun, because yeah, most stuff on TikTok I would argue is as crap as the quality of material that's on there in terms of video format. Now, this comes to us thanks to WFAA. which they say, quote, popular face moisturizer recalled nationwide. The cream is sold on several stores and has become a viral hit on the TikTok. Now you can see someone trying to put the moisturizer on them. Now they say, quote, a popular face moisturizer sold by First Aid Beauty has been recalled nationwide after some jars of the cosmetic cream that weren't meant to be sold were unintentionally distributed. The FDA has classified this recall as a Class 2, the second highest classification. No details were immediately available, but the FDA's report noted that it was a deviation from the current good manufacturing practice regulations that indicated the recalled jars had been, quote, intended for quarantine. Whoops. The voluntary recall specifically affects to 14-ounce jars of the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream. According to health officials, 2,756 jars were inadvertently sent to stores. The affected jars have lot numbers of 24D44, again, it's 24D44, and 24D45, with expiration dates between 4/10/2026 and 4/11/2026. They note that, quote, the recall was issued has come to light a month after the FDA on Tuesday, giving a Class 2 risk clarification. Describes the situation as, quote, a situation in which the use of or exposure to a volatile product may cause temporary or medically reversible adverse health consequences, or where the probability of serious adverse health consequences is remote. First Aid Beauty is also in the middle of a campaign to raise funds for California wildfire. That brand of cream was supposed to raise some money for that as well. Now it looks like the popular cream was sold at stores including Sephora and becoming a viral hit on social media platform TikTok, where users praise the First Aid Beauty products for smoothing skin, and when other products couldn't. Or in this case, well, whoops, might cause more harm than good. And again, it's a very regulated industry, but it's also one of the most profitable ones in terms of, makeup and cosmetics, which is why you should probably be extra careful in terms of your product being shipped out. Because once your brand gets a couple of dings, people start to move away from it. And again, pretty profitable product, you want to probably take care of it, take, if anything, more measures than the average industry when it comes to taking your product quality assurance. But they didn't, and definitely make sure if you see those recall numbers at the bottom of the bottles, you toss them out. So I'm not sure who's in charge of the quality assurance department, but gotta say, First Aid Beauty, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so you can click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.